This content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. The Better Traders is not a broker dealer. We are not an investment advisor. We have no access to non-public information about publicly traded companies or cryptocurrencies. And this is not a place for the giving or receiving of financial advice, advice concerning investment decisions, or tax or legal advice. The value of investments and the income derived from them can go down as well as up. Investors may not get back the amount they invested, and past performance is not a guide to future performance. Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Moon and Papa, and you're watching my live stream here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. In this live stream, we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin chart, looking at what it's doing and what could be happening next, as well as TradFi. We're going to be paying attention to the S&P chart, mainly because next week is another glorious FOMC meeting. Now, I need to make sure that my audio is coming through, and it is just fine. Thanks for joining me today. So let me go ahead and jump on over to TradingView. So over here on TradingView, Bitcoin is, everyone thought it was getting strong. I'm not really buying this little move right here at all, for lots of different reasons. But if you actually, I should back up for a second. Hold on a second. If you're watching this video and just happen to stumble upon it, I actually went into like a crazy forecast yesterday. Well, it was posted 10 hours ago. This one right here. The next Bitcoin top happens here. So this is a long video. It's 40 minutes of educational goodness. There is a ton of content in this video. Don't let the length of the video scare you. There's a lot of fantastic info in there. So I just want to make sure that people see that and they understand this is a fantastic resource. You're going to love it. So I'm not going to go into depth on what Bitcoin's doing, what I think it's going to do. I think it's obvious what's going to happen before the FOMC meeting happens. I don't know what they're going to actually say next week, but this is going to give you the roadmap for the next 2 years. I kid you not. So fantastic video. And again, I have live streams every single week, this time at on Thursday, 11 a.m. Japan Standard Time, which is about 9 p.m. East Coast time in North America, which would mean it would be 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So now back to our regular scheduled programming. I can't speak. I don't know what's going on. Too many ideas, too many things I want to say, not coming out fast enough. That's what's happening. So Bitcoin right now is weakening. It is weakening because traditional markets are weakening. We are looking at the 4-hour time frame, and we're using the TBO on the standard setting. The TBO is a ridiculously awesome trend trading indicator, and there was a brief glimmer of hope and joy when the price of Bitcoin broke above the cloud. Now there's way more happening here to get excited about and to be interested in, because we could even use trends to see, oh, we're getting really close to this trend. That looks like it's a good situation. And we have, oh, like this. We popped out above this trend. We're still holding right now. Things look really good, right? To be honest, things don't look good, in my opinion. Things look like they're weakening, again, in anticipation of next week's FOMC meeting. So I know that things are weakening because I've been following the chart for the S&P. So the S&P chart on the daily has hit, last week it hit resistance, which I shared with my Better Traders Club members, the private group that I have, saying that it could do a repeat of this where it falls down and it does a retest, but with the FOMC meeting coming up, and it's going to be on next Tuesday and Wednesday, expect the anticipation of that meeting to crash the S&P. It's just clockwork. There's so much more talk of a recession coming right now. It's not even funny. Whereas last year, there weren't so many people talking about it, except they're in the crypto space and other chartists like myself. We were talking about recession's coming. And now that it's finally the end of 2022, now the media is talking about, are we going into a recession? They're finally allowed to talk about it, right? So the interesting thing is that they're going to be late most of the time. I still think that we could fall further for the S&P, which means Bitcoin would fall further as well. I mean, if the S&P is really going to fall out of fear and tank another 11%, what typically happens is that when traditional markets fall 11%, multiply that by 2 for crypto. So another 22% would drop BTC down to 13K, which is one of the targets that we are currently waiting on. Let me change my time frame so I can get these bearish. Where are they? Here we go. Oh, I need to bring this out. I can't read it. Here we go. So we have these bearish targets below where we currently are. So we hit the first target on the FTX collapse, and we've just kind of been dancing on this line. So now if there's going to be fear, which most likely there will be because FOMC meetings usually don't bode well, we could at least see a minimum fall down here to 15K again. That would not surprise me in the least. But interestingly enough, a fall down 17% or even 22% would put us in that 13K range, which a lot of people are talking about. So going back to the weekly time frame, the reason why I have these different trend lines, I'm sorry, not trend lines, these different target lines here at 1, 2, 3, and 4, these are based on previous price action from 2017 and 18. So I'm using the TBO as a guide here. And if I go ahead and hide this, you can see this nice long red dotted line. This is giving us resistance for price. This is giving resistance. And when the price breaks above, it now becomes support. It changes from red to green, as we can see it doing right there. So interestingly enough, I love this. Interestingly enough, the price fell down, wicked below, and even closed a bit below. Let's go to the daily time frame. And we're going to go like this and go like this to bring us up to speed. Great. So this is that same line. So the price is dancing off of this support line. It would make sense to see it fall and at least do another test. But here's the thing. If the price of BTC comes down here and it doesn't bounce and it cracks below, it's going to come down here to test this low right there. No question about it. That is something I'm definitely expecting to have happen. The next thing I'm expecting to have happen is for the price to continue falling to the next target, which is established by this upper wick here in June 2019. So this wick was the mid-cycle bull run that we were supposed to have, but we never did have for BTC. So if things get weak, if things get scary, then we're going to see it fall down to this as support first. This will most likely be the first stop, or the next stop rather, because we've already hit and pierced our first target. So it makes sense to find support at 13,880 because of this wick. Now, because it's just a single wick and there aren't any other strong points of support here, it would also make sense to see Bitcoin fall lower if things got really, really, really shaky. So falling around this cluster of prices here between these two, 11,570 and 12,97, that would make a lot of sense if things get worse. Now, I don't know about things getting worse right away that fast, but if the S&P continues to tumble out of fear, makes a lot of sense. So let me go back to the S&P chart on the daily time frame just to talk about a couple of things. Interestingly enough, when we look at the RSI for the S&P, which gives us the strength, or as actually what it's called, is the relative strength index, it never really peaked above overbought values, above 70, which I found really strange because the last time we had this rally, it went all the way up to 83.54 in August. But we can see that even though it's still rallying, it's still doing well, it never breaks above. I just find that really strange that even though we had a nice move up, it wasn't enough. So that leads me to believe that there might be something else in play. So let's take a look at our resistance fan. Boom. So the resistance fan is something that maybe someone else has come up with, but it's just something I've realized that I like to do. And essentially, I draw resistance lines like this, or trend lines, and then from this next peak, I draw it down, and from the next peak, I draw it down, next peak, draw it down. So it makes this fan effect. If I were to hide it, you would see the fan shape right there. So I find it very satisfying when they hold, and even more satisfying when they break. I don't think this one's going to break anytime soon, given, again, next week should be red. The rest of this week should be red. So let's go back to the daily time frame to discuss. So the things that would change the market would be Jerome Powell making a statement now in advance of FOMC, the FOMC meeting, saying, you know what? Let's cancel it. Things are great. We don't have to do anything. That's not going to be the case for lots of reasons that I know, but that would be the one thing that would change the sentiment right now. So without any indicators, without any trend lines, let me just make this really, really simple. This is not rocket science. So for all of you that aren't experienced traders, that you don't know how to read charts yet, I understand, that's okay. I just want to help you see this. It really just takes a little time to look at the pattern of the markets. And this is red. I'll change the color in a second, but I just want you to see this. I'm going to skip that. And what's going to happen next? So let me change this to white so we can see it clearly. So if we get rid of this pattern, we're seeing what's happening right here. Don't worry about the accuracy. We're really just focusing on the oscillation, which is the pattern of it going up and down, except it's not fully oscillating back up. But you can see that there is a very clear channel right here. You see that? It's not that difficult to figure out where's it going to go. So if you're still not sure, let's just talk about probabilities, okay? The probability of the price, or rather the index, the S&P, to all of a sudden go back up is very low. I'll make this yellow because this is a question. It could happen, but it's extremely low given the fact that we have a pretty strong pattern in place. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So it makes more sense for it to come down here to establish the pattern and then just keep going and going and going like that until something changes. And that thing that changes is nowhere near. I don't think it's anywhere in sight, to be honest. I think that we're going to continue to see, oh, we need to bring this back. We're going to continue to see the S&P fall, especially in 2023, next year. It just makes sense. So let's go to the weekly time frame and let's just talk about a couple of things. So when we have seen these FOMC meeting events happen, typically that incites some fear. I said that, so you might think, well, he's just talking about his own experience. He doesn't really know exactly. Well, I want to share some information that's here on the federalreserve.gov website. So these are all the meetings that were scheduled for 2022. So any of these meetings with this little star right here, if we go to the bottom, this means a meeting associated with a summary of economic projections. This right here, economic projections, this is all about if they need to raise rates or not. That's really what it means. They're assessing the economic projections that were previously done and having to make changes moving forward. So the last time that we saw one of these events happen was September 20th to the 21st. 21st, I can speak. So September 20th, right here, this week. So this is when we had that meeting that didn't really go so well because a couple of weeks after, S&P fell a lot. The S&P fell, well, actually, let's go to the daily time frame. So it's the 20th and the 21st. Perfect. So right here, after the meeting adjourned, S&P fell a total of, I have to do it like this because I can't see, 10%. It was a pretty steep fall after the meeting as well. So note, the second day is the day we need to pay attention to because that's when the meeting is adjourned and that's when they release information. So we can see there's even a gap here. So we saw the S&P fall after the meeting, a week after the meeting, 5%, which is big. So let's see if this actually plays out. So back here on the browser, we're going to go here to June 15th and March 16th. So let's go up here. So June 15th, right there. Oops, wrong button. June 15th. And March 16th. So we're just going to take a look at these ones right now, and we can take away the TBO if it's a little bit confusing. Let me take away this. There we go. So these are the 3 different dates where there were meetings. Can you tell which meetings went extremely well? Can you tell which ones didn't go so well? As we've gone further and further into this year, especially since January, it's been a down-only year. Looking at January 1st, well, it'd be the 3rd, to where we are now, the S&P is down 18% for the year. Not as bad as Bitcoin or other markets, but not good at all. So yes, there was a bit of a move up here in March because there was some great news at the time, but it didn't hold up. It didn't hold up, and I don't think the next bit of news is going to be good or enough to really prop up the market higher, in my opinion. So again, thinking about that pattern of just moving up and down, it seems logical to project the price going lower. It seems more probable that it will go lower based off of what happens next week. Now, I don't know. I don't have an inside seat in that meeting. I don't care. But let's use the TBO now to help us figure out, well, we've seen the chart action. We've seen it, and we understand how it looks. But let's add an indicator that's a trend-based indicator to help us figure out, well, what do you think could happen based on the trend? So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and remove a whole lot of stuff right here just to make this really simple. Take this. Wonderful. So now we're just looking at the pure trend. So we can see the trend has been really good to the S&P ever since after the Corona crash in 2020. It's been great until we got here. So right here, we can see where the trend, the fast line of the TBO went from green to pink. This is our first sign of weakness. And then it did it again. And not only did it do it again, but it fell way lower and it went below the cloud. So I'm going to click on this again, just because I want to help you see this. So I'm going to make this a little bit darker so you can see that line. So that's the slow cloud right there. So when we have it going, oops, sorry, I did the wrong one too. There we go. So when we see the fast line go below the slow cloud right there, that's not good. It's not good at all. That's a bad sign. Now, this is the first time we've seen the fast line come above, but is it enough to really crank it up? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it to me. So let's go ahead and bring back the chart, because this is going to help us out too. So seeing how the price action of SPX has performed, yeah, it's on a downtrend. The TBO is still on par. Now I understand that, yes, it's starting to curl up and curve up. I get it. Yes, it is. Let me get rid of those darker lines. There we go. Bring this back. So yes, it is starting to curve up. We could be changing, but given what we know about what's happening in the global macroeconomic environment, and we have this pattern already established, it doesn't look helpful. It doesn't look hopeful, rather, to me. So let me go ahead and just reset my settings to bring everything back. Great. So given the fact that this meeting's coming up next week, I don't expect to see this move up higher. It doesn't make sense. I could be happily surprised and wrong, but it makes more sense to see it fall further. A couple of things to keep in mind. So if you're not of that camp, that's fine, but we're just going to draw a real dirty trend right here. If the SPX chart breaks below this trend, that's a batsu. In Japanese, that's like a count against you. That's one bad thing to expect. If we can't break above this previous high right here, again, not a good sign. One thing that could happen, this is very improbable, but moving up higher and higher and higher, that would be very unexpected and unlikely. It seems more likely to break this trend line, lose confidence, have a wick down, then do another test, and then something like that. So if it breaks this line right here, this trend, that's not good. And that means there's going to be weakness in the market. So again, going back to BTC, that means that if we're expecting bad news, then it would make sense to be careful about opening new positions. It would mean be careful about running long bots, which I have many running, so I have to adjust my strategy after I finish this live stream, and to reassess your trades. And if you are of the, if you can short, consider shorting. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I can't tell you what to do. I'm telling you everything that I'm going to be doing as soon as I finish this live stream. That makes the most sense to me. Okay. The next thing I want to do in this live stream is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I just haven't had the chance to because I've been wrapped up talking about other stuff. But I want to talk about this thing over here. So this is the Better Trader IO's Better Crypto Scanner. This thing is free. It generates watch lists, but more importantly, it helps you to identify really, really, really big spreads on multiple exchanges: KuCoin, Gate.io, Coinbase, Binance. It's great. So we're going to use this in a really simple fashion. So I'm looking at Binance's BNB market, identifying spreads that are greater than 20%, sorting it from spread high to low. So I want to look at the biggest ones first, and I'm only looking at the top 10. So the reason why I have this is because I've made several videos in the past talking about trading alternative markets, and those markets yield some serious profits. Alternative markets would be anything other than Bitcoin or USDT. So like XRP is an alternative market, Ethereum, Doge is an alternative market. So we're looking at the BNB market, and the purpose of this is to identify charts that might be profitable for helping us to grow our BNB balance. That's all this is. Okay, so let's check this out. So I'm not going to click on this because I want to stay over here on TradingView, but we're going to take a look at these just to see what's happening with these charts. So CLV BNB. Let's head on over here. CLV BNB. Home run off the bat. This chart is amazing. I'm actually going to go here to the daily time frame to bring up the volume just to check it. So I'm using the TBT base to quote currency, or rather volume converter. This is a great indicator. It's free to use. Let me see. Where is it? Settings? No, about the script. There we go. So it's free to use. It automatically changes the volume in BTC, or rather the base currency, to the quote currency. That's all it does, which means that now I know how much on the 30-day moving average, which is the moving average of volume, excuse me, is telling me this is how much is being traded over the last 30 days. So 676 BNB over the last 30 days is our average amount traded, whereas for today it's just 14. This is really helpful, especially if you want to go down to like the 30-minute time frame like this. And now I can get an idea of where the volume is. So right now we're looking at, and I'm looking at the numbers right here, it's fluctuating between 8, 10, 40, 30. So let's go to the 4 hour to get a better idea. So yeah, 100 and something, plenty of BNB being traded on this chart. The reason why I like doing this stuff is because I want to help people understand that not only is the scanner legit amazing, it helps you to find charts that you would otherwise have to go through Binance's website and click, all that stuff. Whereas this brings it right up. It tells me right away. So let's go ahead and look at the next one, Ray, BNB. I mean, this is insane. I don't like the fact that this one has been heading down for such a long time, but I love the fact that it has all these big wicks here at this bottom range for the last 4 weeks. So if we go to the daily time frame, so I really like that because this is telling me that there's a bottom here, at least for this chart for now. And good grief, that's a nice 78% pump and then a follow-up pump right there. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the faster time frames to see how much activity is happening here. Really similar to what we just looked at for CLV. So the next thing I would want to check is, how is the volume? Is there enough volume right here So we're going to go to the, yep, there we go. And I want to change this to the daily to see 1,084 BNB traded on the last 30-day period. That's because this mega pump. So let's go back to when it was quieter. Still 105. So there's no shortage of volume with this, which means that it is still low cap, low volume, but what an amazing chart to take advantage of to help grow your BNB stack. Let's take a look at one more. So ANC, and by the way, I can actually click this and it'll open up the trading view window. But again, I want to be able to use it over here just because it's a little bit nicer. So I'm going to go over here to trading view. So now we have this one that has a big spread of 67%. ANC, oh, BTC, wrong chart. ANC, BNB. There we go. Isn't that interesting? So on the chart here, ANC, BNB, this one had a mega pump. But if I go to ANC, BTC for Binance, no such pump. There is kind of a pump of volume, but no, it's not there. If I go to Ray, BTC for Upbit, there wasn't really a big pump, but if I go to Ray, BNB for Binance, boom, there it is. These alternative markets, the point I'm trying to get across right now, that's the last point I'm going to make, is that these are some of the best methods to help you grow your account. So yeah, I understand that BNB may not be your number one hold, or maybe you don't even trade on Binance and you can't get a hold of it. That's okay, because we could still use the scanner to look at alternative markets. We could look at the Ethereum market. We could look at the XRP market. If you're on KuCoin, you could build up your KCS stack, your KuCoin, well, token, but yeah. So we don't have any that fits the criteria. That's fine. But when there is, then it's going to pop up here. So the benefit of using the scanner like this is that you can grow. If you like Ethereum, we can grow it. We can look for these charts, ample, ETH. Oh no, I'm not going to touch that one because I know that one is a bad chart for trading because it's a rebalancing token. But if I go over here, boom. Look at all this good stuff happening with this chart. Look at all of this. I like this kind of stuff for trading. This is not a lot of volume, but it's great. So you can use these alternative markets to grow your stack. That's the whole point. That's everything I'm trying to say right now. That's the big idea. So use the Better Crypto Scanner. It's free. We don't track you. We don't do anything other than provide information on how to use it. And I think I have a playlist on YouTube that explains how to use it. I have to check real quick. I'm pretty sure I do. Let me see. I know I do. Oh yeah, there it is. It's right here. In bettertrader.io, this full playlist right here. So this has a ton of videos to help you understand how to use it, how to find charts, how to navigate the watch list stuff, not the watch list, but the playlist and how to navigate the site and use that tool for trading. Okay, awesome. Well, that's all for this live stream. I just wanted to give you guys an update on the SPX chart, what's happening with the FOMC meeting next week, how that will likely affect Bitcoin and other markets, but also to help you see that there's always going to be another chart that's pumping, that's moving, that's doing all this stuff, especially alternative charts. So until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.